A man pours boiling water into a sink and then places modeling clay into the water. Once the clay has completely melted, he molds it into a curved shape and puts it into a prepared mold. Using all his strength, he presses down hard, creating a fake handgun. He then knocks on the door and hands the gun to his waiting accomplice. The hijackers burst into the cabin, leaving everyone stunned. Two more accomplices rush out, and the three quickly take control of the passengers. They hold a flight attendant hostage and demand to know the identity of the air marshal on board. To avoid any harm to the passengers, the air marshal surrenders. Under threat, the man has no choice but to hand over his weapon. Suddenly, a passenger fights back, shouting for help from others. However, everyone is at a loss, and no one dares to lend a hand. The passenger is brutally beaten by the hijackers until he lies motionless on the floor, leaving the cabin in dead silence. The hijackers raise a banner and chant the slogans of a terrorist organization. To better control everyone, they confiscate the passengers' phones and prepare to gather them all in the economy class. They take another flight attendant hostage and demand that the captain open the cabin door, but he refuses. The hijackers resort to calling the government, demanding the release of their leader. As the passengers are being moved, one of them seizes the moment when a hijacker turns his head and launches a surprise attack from behind. Just then, the plane lands, and the violent shaking causes the gun to go off, alerting the hijackers. They rush over to find their accomplice lifeless. A struggle ensues between the two, and when the other hijacker arrives, the passenger is completely subdued. They drag him into the bathroom. Meanwhile, the air marshal breaks free from his bonds. Seeing the passenger being brutally beaten, the man picks up the dropped gun and shoots the hijackers without hesitation. However, even after successfully killing the two, the crisis is far from over. The passenger has a bomb strapped to his body. Upon learning of the situation, the cabin descends into chaos. The flight attendant hurriedly comforts the passengers and opens the cabin door, arranging for their emergency evacuation. Once everyone is safely off the plane, the police begin to defuse the bomb. To everyone's surprise, the bomb turns out to be fake. Even more puzzling, the bodies of the three hijackers have vanished. When the police chief realizes it's not an ordinary hijacking, he discovers that the prepared helicopter and soldiers in the watchtower noticed nothing unusual. The hijackers have disappeared into thin air. As the chief tries to find the air marshal, he instead finds a drunk man sleeping soundly. Only after confirmation from the captain does he learn that this man is the real air marshal. It turns out that the flight attendant and the hijackers were working together. Before takeoff, the attendant had secretly drugged the real air marshal's drink, causing him to fall asleep. Since weapons aren't allowed on the plane, the accomplices had to make a fake gun out of modeling clay. To prevent the passengers from having hope, they staged a scene with their accomplice, discouraging any resistance. Another accomplice posed as the air marshal, not only taking his gun, but also replacing the real bullets inside. They forced the passengers into the economy class to disrupt the seating order. Then, using chocolate, they successfully created a fake bomb. Finally, they took advantage of the chaos, and, while everyone fled the plane in panic, the three hijackers changed clothes and walked off the plane in plain sight. The fake air marshal used his identity to successfully escape the scene. They chose to land at a small airport because it couldn't accommodate all the passengers.